Greetings, GISD community. This is Dr. Stewart with our Student Spotlight. Today, I'm here at Gainesville High School, and I have Jazlynna Bergeron with me, senior, at the high school. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing just fine, thank you. Thank you for joining us.
No problem at all. I was just doing my thing.
All right, well, let's jump right on in. Jazlynna, tell us about yourself and your family.
Okay, so I'm Jazlynna Bergeron. I'm a senior at Gainesville High School. I'm very active in the theater department, as a lot of people know. I was president of Key Club for the past 2 years. I moved here my sophomore year, and then from there I kind of went crazy with everything here. So I'm in theater, Key Club, debate, and then I also got the opportunity to be a state thespian officer in Gainesville's first one, so I got really excited at that. My mom is Neryl Bradshaw, and my dad is JP Bergeron, and I have a few siblings and 2 dogs and a cat. His name is Oscar, is the cat. And yeah, I like to participate in a lot around the community. I'm a waitress at Sarah's on the Square, so yeah.
Very active young lady, I see. So how long, and I think you alluded to this earlier, how long have you been a student here in GISD?
3 years. I moved here my sophomore year after COVID year. So my freshman year we got shut down, and then I moved here.
So talk to me about that. Now that although we're still kind of in this pandemic frame of mind, but we're kind of out of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. How was that transition for you coming in during a COVID year and then getting caught up to speed afterwards? Mm-hmm.
I was very lucky because I had actually gone with my family to Singapore because that's where most of my family is from. One day after we came back, everything shut down for COVID because right whenever we went, it was it wasn't a big deal. So we went and then the border all shut down and stuff. Luckily, we got back in time. But then after that, I made some new friends over here at Gainesville from doing stuff at Butterfield Stage. And then I ended up moving here because I realized there was more dual credit opportunities than my past school because it was just a really small school.
Thank you. So since you've transitioned, what has been your most memorable year or your most memorable teacher?
So I'd have to say this year has been a crazy memorable year because I got second in Congress and I'm going to state for that. I got to be an STO this year. I'm a national qualifier. There's so many crazy things happening this year, and it's also I'm really happy about it. And Miss Alex this year has really stood out to me. She's been so kind and really helped me feel sure about going to college and stuff.
Well, thank you for sharing. So what has been, you have many highlights, and that's a great thing, great experiences and whatnot. But now let's flip the script on this one. So what's been your most challenging time during your 3 years here at Gainesville High School?
I'd really have to say balancing school, work, and theater. There have been times where I get really overwhelmed because, doing a lot is pretty hard, especially when some things as time-consuming as theater. We have to be there 5 to 8 almost every day of the week with performances. And then debate is after schools, and then I work the weekend, so there's not really a day off. Before it was Sundays, but then now Sundays we have our meetings for STOs. But I've kind of found my downtime within all my activities, so I've got used to that, but balancing has been the hardest thing.
And I can tell you, you talk about the balancing act of high school, it doesn't stop. When you become a young lady and transition off to college, it starts all over again. And then when you become an adult, it starts all over again. So life is one big balancing act where you have to be able to adjust and balance personal time and intentional time, whether it be school, theater, work, etc. Okay, so as you mentioned earlier, you're very active in theater. Tell me about your experience in GHS theater.
So when I first came here, it was COVID year, so it was kind of weird. We had to wear masks on stage and distance. It was very different for a theater community, especially with how close-knit everyone is. So when I came here, we started doing Into the Woods, and lucky enough for me, I did get a role, and I was very excited. And then we went on to One Act, and I was always told of the wonders of Gainesville High School One Act, the advancements that they do, the really beautiful works that they put on stage, and I was really excited to even just be an alternate in it, and that was one of my best experiences that I've had. Miss Sims is a wonderful director. She has truly pushed me to do everything that I do today. She's always said, "Oh, Jazz, I think you'd be interested in this," or I think you can do that. And she's pushed me to do everything that I've done so far. So it's like she's really pushed me to be the person that I am. And I'm really thankful that to like go through theater and all these people here with me, they're like, they all work really well together and they're very happy and excited to be here.
And I must say, I concur with what you just said. Mrs. Sims does a phenomenal job with our theater department, but the young men and young ladies that participate in that program, and the productions that they put on are second to none. I've thoroughly enjoyed every production that I've seen, and definitely look forward to many more in the future. The last 2 years, you have been in leadership roles within a larger scope in theater. Tell me about your role as the state officer and what that entails.
So as a state officer, as we call it, an STO, I get to represent thespians across the state of Texas and use my platform to help advocate and teach people about theater. So I get to host leadership days across the state of Texas and host one of the biggest conventions of theater in the country. It's one of the biggest things. There's 2 of them this year. We have one in San Antonio and one in Grapevine, but there was about 8,000 people there this year, and I got to see all of them and kind of represent Texas thespians. And it's been a really awesome journey. I've had so much fun. I've got to travel everywhere, places that I wouldn't think I would go. Like I went to San Marcos and I went to a 1-week intensive leadership camp, and I made the closest friends I could ever think of in my life. It's truly a magical experience, and if you can do it, I would have to recommend it for anyone in theater.
Well, I tell you, they couldn't have picked a better leader than yourself. Thank you for representing not only GISD, but also representing thespians in theater across the state of Texas. That's a huge role and a huge responsibility. You also recently received some big honors at the Texas Thespian Festival. Explain what this festival is all about and also the awards you received.
So this huge festival is basically a convention where thespians across the entire state of Texas, all the way from Midland to Frisco to everywhere in between, all the way down to the border of Mexico, everyone comes up to the Gaylord to come celebrate theater and to learn more about this ancient art. So this year I got the ability to perform in our solo monologue, because there's different individual entry challenges you can do at festival to kind of compete, see where you can. So I am actually a national qualifier in solo monologue, and 2 others advanced with me, Adriana Golano and Jalen Graham. They both did very good jobs. So that means I qualified to go to the Indiana, or not, it used to be in Indiana, but the Nationals Festival somewhere in another state, but we usually don't go, but it's nice to know I qualified.
Well, congratulations, that's huge. So now, you've been in GHS for 3 years now. You're a senior, the big man on campus, or big lady on campus. So now we're starting to look at, with Christmas approaching, the year's halfway done. And so now, the big focus not only remains on, getting to the finish line, but also what lies ahead for you. So as you begin to think about college, how do you feel GHS has prepared you for college?
So the dual credit program here has definitely helped me a lot. I've had so many resources, especially with the counselors and the professors coming from NCTC to come help us out. That's made me feel a bit more sure about myself, and all the teachers have been really supportive and made me excited for college, because I remember before I'd think of it and I'd be terrified. But now I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is going to be a really good experience for me, because now I feel prepared.
Mm-hmm. Statistics says that, just getting exposure to one college class can drastically change the trajectory of a student's, decision whether they go to college or not. And so I'm glad to hear that experience has not only shown you that you can be successful in those college level classes, but it's also, fueled your fire and it has made you look forward to college moving forward. So I'm glad to hear that. So what advice would you give students to help them maximize their educational experience at Gainesville High School?
The biggest thing I can say is participate. I've unfortunately seen a lot of students just not participating, and that's the best opportunity to get the most you can. The reason why I'm involved in so much is because it's so easy to just join and say, hey, I want to help out where I can, or hey, do you need help here, or what can I join that I find interesting? So participating is really the best option to maximize Gainesville, because Gainesville's filled with opportunity. You just really have to do it.
And I like the way you put that. You know, there's a plethora of opportunities out there for our students, regardless of what grade level you may be in, you know, from our middle school programs all the way up through high school. And so I agree with you 100%. You're only going to get out of this experience what you put into it. And so I'm glad to know that we have students like yourself who are taking full advantage of all the opportunities present here within GISD. So, as I said earlier, you're almost at that halfway point. You know, we're almost at Christmas is coming up. We're almost at mid-year, which means you're halfway done with your high school career or your senior year. And so, and I don't know if you had an opportunity just to reflect back upon your journey, the last 3 years, your journey here in GHS. What are you going to miss most about high school?
Wow, yeah, I don't know. I've had a lot of time to think about that, so it's like, ooh. But I really think I'm going to miss, like, the easiness of the classes for me personally, because I know college is going to challenge me in ways that I don't think it's going to challenge me, and also not having to, like, live on my own yet. Like, I'm kind of enjoying just being, like, a kid. I'm enjoying that, but also, like, the people here, I'm going to miss, like, the support, because this is a very supportive town overall. Like, no matter where I go, it's like, oh, hey, Jazz, and I'm like, hi. Sometimes I don't know them, but oh well. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely going to be something where I'm going to look back and I'm going to have really fond memories of Gainesville. So I think I'm just going to miss that overall.
Okay, so now fast forwarding, you know, thinking about college. What are you looking forward to most about going to college?
Living on my own, actually, though I'm worried about it. And like, oh, I love living with my parents. I'm excited to like be very independent. I'm a very independent person, so I kind of like to be on my own. And then also kind of like the free schedule of college, where some days are completely dedicated to my classes I can focus in, but then other days I can just work or I can focus on studying, and also meeting so many new people, because the place where I want to go is very vibrant. There's a lot of people there.
Okay. So tell me about the place you want to go.
I want to go to UT Austin. I recently got accepted there to study social work. And I actually got invited to apply to the 40 Acres Scholarship, which is it's a student leadership program where it's a full ride completely through UT. And it's like a student-led like leadership program. And it's a really cool opportunity, and I'm very thankful that I got invited to even just apply, so I'm hoping that goes through. But I really hope to go to UT.
All right. Well, that's good to know. There's no doubt in my mind that of course, you're already accepted in the UT. There's no doubt in my mind that you'll do great things at UT. Thank you. All right. So, again, back to just reflecting over your experience here at GHS. What is something you wish you would have known or done differently?
I wish I would have moved here sooner. Like, I wish I didn't wait until my freshman year in COVID, because I noticed, like, though I did get so much opportunity, I feel like one more year could have just done so much more for me, because I feel like this year I'm really doing everything that I want to do, and I'm like, if I had one more year, I could really like finish it off strong. I'm
telling you, these years fly by, and I tell you, it's going to be the exact same once you step foot on a college campus. You know, you come in as a anxious freshman, you know, not knowing, you just don't know what you don't know. And then you blink your eyes and you're a senior walking across the stage and being ushered into the real world. So trust me, that cycle, it continues when you move on to college. So now really looking forward and kind of projecting into the future, you know, what are your short-term goals for the future?
So I hopefully want to get that 40-acre scholarship. That's currently one of my top priorities right now. I really want to get that. Getting into our One Act, we just started that. Auditions are going to be pretty soon. I want to get through senior year. Halfway there, I got it. And I want to make some memories this year. I want to do things that I'm going to look back and be like, yeah, I enjoyed high school. I don't want to have like a memory where I'm like, oh, well, it was just okay. I want to be someone who's like proud to be like, I'm a leopard. You know what I mean?
Yes. And we talked about short term. What are your long-term goals?
So some of my long-term goals, I want to be a social worker because my degree, I want to be a social work. But I also want to join the Peace Corps. So after I graduate, I'm hoping that I can join the Peace Corps for 2 years and then go straight into social work so I have some more experience. Okay. And then I want to, just help as many people as I can, make changes in the world. Everything that everyone wants to do. But I don't know. I feel like I have a good chance at making the changes I want.
Well, I agree with you. I think that you can do anything that you set your mind to. Well, Jazz, it's been an honor and a pleasure to sit here and enjoy this time with you. Before we conclude our interview, are there any questions that you'd like to ask me?
Will you declare Theater in our schools month, March? I can get you all the papers in.
Well, we've talked about that. You know, you just have to, again, give me that proposal, and we got to walk through that process.
And we will.
Okay.
I'll start in February this year.
All right, I'll start in January.
January?
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Then.
GIZ community, Jazlynna Bergeron, senior here at Gainesville High School.